Good evening, everyone. This is Melissa Thomas of Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. And as always, we'd like to extend an invitation for anyone that is interested in advertising with Florida National News. If you're looking for an expansion of your platform in order to promote your business, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. Or if you're interested in sponsoring any of our segments or buying out a sponsorship on our website, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. And per usual, we like to start our evening news rundown with the latest COVID-19 numbers globally here in the United States and in the state of Florida. So globally, according to the World Health Organization, they're reporting over 59.2 million confirmed cases and nearly 1.4 million confirmed COVID-19 deaths. In the United States, Johns Hopkins University is reporting over 12.6 million confirmed cases and nearly 261,000 confirmed deaths. In the state of Florida, the Department of Health is reporting over 953,000 confirmed cases and over 18,300 confirmed deaths between residents and non-residents. And jumping into our world story, as you guys are aware, the UK and Europe as a whole has seen a huge rise in COVID-19 cases, but the UK wanted to lighten the load just a little bit for the holidays specifically. So they decided to adopt a bubble-style approach for families to convene for the holidays. The British officials said on Tuesday that families will be able to see some loved ones, announcing that the country's COVID-19 restrictions will be modified to allow up to 3 families to convene in the coming month. Now, Cabinet Minister Michael Gove said on Tuesday that families will be able to create a quote Christmas bubble that will allow people to mix in homes, outdoor spaces, and places of worship. These get-togethers must remain exclusive, though, according to Gove, with the absolute limit set at 3 households. Gove said that these bubbles would allow people to, quote, meet close friends and family in a very restricted fashion in order to ensure that those we love can be with us in this special season. Now, on Sunday, the British government announced that it would seek to ease COVID-19 restrictions, with Gove speaking to the governments of Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland to work out a plan. The UK is still under its 1-month national lockdown, during which non-essential businesses must remain closed and time spent outdoors is limited. The lockdown is expected to end, though, next week. The UK has reported more than 1.5 million total COVID-19 infections and more than 55,000 deaths, according to the World Health Organization. Now, jumping here to the United States. The United States has now set a new record for COVID-19 hospitalizations. Not quite the best record you want to set, but that is the unfortunate truth at the moment. The number is 88,080 people are currently hospitalized with COVID-19, which sets the record right now, especially amid a continuing fall surge. This is the highest number of COVID-19 hospitalizations the country has ever experienced since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the U.S. Hospital systems around the country have been warning that their staffing and ICU bed capacity are being stretched thin. This latest surge in COVID-19 cases nationwide is mainly being driven by people without symptoms, so asymptomatic folks gathering indoors, according to Dr. Robert Redfield, the director of the CDC. Dr. Redfield noted that transmission patterns are now very different from those seen in the spring in major metropolitan areas, because transmission this time around is occurring when people take off their masks and gather in homes. Now, these silent carriers spreading the virus come as U.S. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue to surge. Experts are now imploring people to stay home for Thanksgiving, and officials across the country are preparing new rules and other steps to help cope with the spiraling pandemic. Controversially, Admiral Brett Giroir, Assistant Secretary for Health at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, said if a person does decide to travel, they shouldn't bother getting tested before their trip. Leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts on that. According to Giroir, the end of the pandemic is in sight. Now, right now, the U.S. has reported more than 3.3 million infections since the start of November alone, which is the most that has ever been reported in the U.S. in a single month. So very huge records as the fall surge continues. You guys know we here at Florida National News continue to encourage you, wear your mask, practice safe social distancing, and wash your hands as frequently as possible, sanitize them as frequently as possible. Now, jumping here to the state of Florida, folks are at least being very careful, and the lines are stretching quite far and for long periods of time for COVID-19 tests. Now, in the footage, you're seeing test lines on the West Coast Here in Central Florida, particularly Orlando, health officials are reminding people that the COVID-19 pandemic will not pause for Thanksgiving and that everyone should try to celebrate the holiday safely. Previously, some people have waited at Orange County's Barnett Park for the COVID-19 testing site for over 2 hours as the demand to get tested has increased. Officials don't expect the demand to slow down anytime soon. The COVID-19 testing site offers both molecular and rapid antigen tests. No symptoms are necessary and no appointment is required. So if you want to find out more, just go to ocfl.net to find out more. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to come back with some more stories for you. We've got quite a full day. Stay tuned.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
All right, guys, welcome back to the Evening News Rundown. In our next U.S. story, you guys have likely heard this, but President-elect Joe Biden has begun to name the members or the nominees for his cabinet and his White House appointees. Now, the cabinet positions require state approval, of course, while the White House administrative staff are appointed directly by the president-elect. Avril Haines is Biden's nominee to become the first woman to lead the U.S. intelligence community. She is a former deputy director of the CIA and deputy national security advisor. He describes her as a professional rather than a political appointee. Anthony Blinken, Biden's nominee to become the Secretary of State, is a longtime confidant of Biden, and he held the top national security and State Department post during President Barack Obama's administration. Linda Thomas Greenfield is Biden's choice to become U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. She spoke of, quote, hope in the struggle as she recalled growing up poor in Louisiana. And in her speech, she also said, quote, America is back and diplomacy is back. Now, the president-elect is also eyeing Jane Yellen for Treasury Secretary and will name her as she's a former Federal Reserve chairman, and she will be named as the first female Treasury Secretary. So a bit of history will be made there as well. Alejandro Mayorkas was the Secretary of Homeland Security, and he is the first immigrant and first Latino to hold the post if completely approved. Now, Jake Sullivan, he is nominated as National Security Advisor, and John Kerry as a special presidential envoy for climate change. So things should be interesting. We'll continue to keep you guys posted as things continue to progress. Now, coming here to the state of Florida, speaking of the presidential transition, there are now talks of the Secret Service getting logistics in a row for President Trump, outgoing President Trump, as he relocates to Florida full time. Now, Secret Service agents have been asked about transferring to Florida. The Miami field office has also begun looking at the physical reinforcements to the president's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, according to unidentified sources. Renovations to living quarters, or quote, updates, are reportedly underway ahead of the president and First Lady Melania Trump living at the resort full time after January 20th. Now, the resident to date has only been used on a temporary basis, and the club has only been open seasonally. Now, the report comes as the Trump administration has signaled that it is ready to begin the transition of power with the incoming Biden administration. However, President Trump has yet to outright concede the election. Now, the Secret Service is also planning on having operations to protect Trump after leaving office at his Bedminster, New Jersey resort and in New York, where he's originally from, before becoming a Florida resident. Trump changed his primary residence from Manhattan to Palm Beach back last year. You guys remember that. He has often stayed at Mar-a-Lago and held several meetings with world leaders there, dubbing the resort, quote, the Winter White House. Now we're going to take another quick commercial break and we'll be back with our business and sports stories. And it is Wednesday, so it is hashtag Worker Wednesday for our devoted fans. And Angel Perry is waiting in the wings to have our usual truth bomb conversation about restaurant workers and other employees that are currently being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly as we draw more and more into the holiday season. So stay tuned.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a
That's
point.
My hiney's clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Evening News Rundown. In our business story, Regal Cinema's parent company, Cineworld, actually got a little bit of a buoy to stay afloat. Of course, Cineworld is the world's second largest theater exhibitor and the owner of the popular Regal Cinemas in the United States. Now, due to the pandemic causing studios to delay the release dates of their new films, audiences have been a bit skittish about attending theaters, and almost all of Regal's locations were closed earlier this year. The company announced on Monday that it has secured a $400 million debt facility and is strategizing to implement $750 million of extra liquidity to support the business in the long term. Now, Cineworld's CEO, Mookie Gradinger, that is the first name, you heard that right, said, quote, over the long term, the operational improvements we have put in place since the start of the pandemic will further enhance Cineworld's profitability and resilience. The group continues to monitor developments in the relevant markets in which we operate, and our entire team is focused on managing our cost base. We look forward to resuming our operations and welcoming movie fans around the world back to the big screen for an exciting and full slate of films in 2021. Now, Cineworld's move comes 4 months after the world's largest theater chain, AMC Entertainment, had reached a deal with investors to pump $300 million of cash into that chain and slash more than $600 million in debt from AMC's ledgers. For Regal, this particular announcement on Monday comes as welcome news after it was forced to shutter most of its remaining theater locations in New York and California earlier this month, after closing the remainder of the country and the UK back in September. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced many studios to make the harsh decision to push back the release of major titles like The Batman, Dune, No Time to Die, and Black Widow, all of which are, highly anticipated audience movies, but all of which are expected to be major box office draws. These were expected to be major box office draws prior to the pandemic. So this is a story of a company that is getting a little bit of a financial buoy, but for hashtag Worker Wednesday, we're going to talk a little bit more about workers and employees that are kind of unfortunately being laid off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we bring in Angel Perry, who is the Executive Vice President of the Communications Workers of America Local 3108. Angel, how's it going?
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me. It's going okay. It's going okay.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about what you've seen, especially with the holiday season, with restaurant workers. This is hitting them particularly hard. And then we were talking off camera about the ripple effect. So we'll talk about the restaurant workers first and then go into the ripple effect. So go ahead.
So with the restaurant workers, the municipalities and the government officials are looking at the behaviors of the general populace. When people are gathered together, and especially around alcohol, their guard is down. There's no social distancing. There's no being careful. Well, I know I'm not sick. You're not sick. People are hugging. So they're targeting social gathering venues. So that's where restaurants, bars, and the like are being hit the hardest as far as sanctioned shutdowns. But it has a ripple effect. All of it has a ripple effect. Places that rely on the restaurants to be open. You're talking about all these people that either rent or pay mortgage. All of that is getting backlogged. And then you're talking about property owners that aren't being able to pay their mortgage, so on and so forth. And what I've seen here locally, it's devastating. Like that whole Wall Street thing, that doesn't apply to the day in and day out. It really doesn't. Investors have the money to invest. Those companies are specialized, targeted companies, and whether they do good or bad does not affect Mr. and Mrs. Joe Smith on the street. It just doesn't. It has nothing to do with anything. So I feel like it's a COVID bubble because we have all this debt that's accumulating, and it's not just debt, it's People are unable to pay their bills, period. You're talking about plumbers and electricians and people that fix houses. When people are evicted or unable to stay in their homes, hotels are being shut down because there's no money, and restaurants and hospitality is being affected. It's just devastating everywhere. It is not good. All the food lines um, have unprecedented people asking to food for food. Food
Right.
insecurities, shelter insecurities are just off the charts. The suicide rate is off the charts. Like, it is not good right now for a lot of people that have never been in this space before. You're talking about people that have always worked, always been able to pay their bills, and now they can't.
Right. And then right before we went on, you were talking to me about that sort of the stark contrast you saw, because you were now seeing a lot more furniture being put out, and it's not so much people moving, it's more so people being displaced. Right.
Evictions. So the thing is about the national moratorium, it only applies to COVID. Now, the caveat is if you don't know the proceedings, so your landlord or the bank puts in this notice, you have to pay by a certain time. The next step is they submit digitally, because now it's digital request to the courts that, oh, I need a hearing to evict this person. And a lot of people don't have a record of, okay, I lost my job in March, April, whenever. I got another one, but I can't catch up. I'm not getting paid enough. They don't know to have that record and submit it to the judge, because you'll get a appearance notification either on the door or certified mail, or you may be served, depending on your state. And you have to have all these documents given to the judge. And then you have to appear in court. Like, you can't skip any of that. So what's happening is, without that knowledge, because people just don't know, they've never been in this space before, they're just getting evicted. The marshals are showing up and you have to leave, and you don't get a 24-hour notice. It doesn't work that way. You have 2 hours to.
Wow.
Usually,
Wow.
if the marshal or the police officer or the sheriff is kind, they may give you 3 hours, but it's usually only a couple of hours. It's early in the morning. You have to be out right then and there, and they lock up the door. So what I've seen that I haven't seen ever in my life of renting is in my community, which is pretty upscale. Is you can't work 2 jobs and live where I live, but there's a place where people could just throw out furniture. I bought a new couch, I bought a new TV, and you throw it out there. Now there's like whole bedroom sets with an S,
Wow.
plural. I've never seen that before. Whole living room sets, bedroom furniture. That's not somebody moving and I gotta buy new stuff. That's
Right.
evictions. That's evictions. Like, I don't know what 46 plans to do, but there's a COVID bubble. It is coming if it's not addressed. It's been ignored for some months now from 45, and now it is coming to a head pretty soon.
Now, given your knowledge base, what do you think is the best course of action for people to take, especially folks that are in that situation? Especially now that we're dealing with the holiday season, so now there are going to be more days off from work. If you secure a job, like, you're still dealing with that as well.
Your best course of action is to enlist your public officials. These same people that you voted for have the resources and knowledge of how to navigate these legal systems of evictions and moratoriums and resources. Like, each state has COVID resources. It's not just the federal one-time stimulus. A lot of municipalities still have funding left that they haven't used. A lot of counties have COVID funding that they haven't used. And it's so important that you get to your commissioners, your mayors, your House and Senate officials, state and federal level. Reach out to the people. Go to government.org, who's my elected officials, start sending emails. Everybody has a phone, a smartphone, whether it's prepaid or monthly service. It's time to use it to save yourself. Like these elected officials are still using tax dollars for their salary. It's time to enlist them to help on resources, on how-tos, because a lot of people just don't know how to navigate this minefield of logistics. It's just, there's no way. If you've never been here before, how do you know? You find the people that do.
Very well said. Thank you for that ray of hope, because I know that's probably top of mind for everyone who is in that situation. Like, what do I do now? Because as you said, this is very new to everybody.
Absolutely.
The United States we've dealt with epidemics, but we've never in our modern time dealt with a pandemic on this scale that affects our business world in this way.
Never before have we been here. It is time to plug in and stay engaged. You do not have a choice. You have to find out the information to stay on top of all these new things that are coming at us.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate the point that Angel made, guys, I'll quote Florida Senator Randolph Bracy. We interviewed him during the FNN Politics and Power. And one of the things he said was, hey, if we don't hear from our constituents, we might lose focus. And he wasn't saying that from a point of weakness. He was saying that to encourage the audience, harass your elected officials.
Absolutely.
Call them, email them, let them know what your struggles are. And the ones that can get started, the ones that have the resources, they will get back to you and start to help you. And if they don't, start to amass a group of people, because there's always strength in numbers.
Absolutely correct.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to have you on, Angel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Melissa. My pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Now we transition into our sports story very quickly. And in our sports story, we come locally to the city of Orlando with the Orlando boys, the Lions, #Vamos Orlando. They will be hosting, they advanced it to the semifinals, the Eastern Conference semifinals in the MLS, the Audi MLS Cup. So congrats to those guys. They will be hosting a game on Sunday. They'll be facing off against the New England Revolution. That's the number 8 seed in the cup. So congrats to these guys for making it to the playoffs. Now, kickoff is at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. So if you want to check out the game, be sure to tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So congrats to the Orlando City Lions on that. As someone who is here locally, I'm not going to lie, kind of root for you guys. Congratulations. Now we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we're going to wrap up with our entertainment story. All right, guys, stay tuned.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing: so good. As in quality ingredients used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.
All right, and on a slightly somber but poignant note, as we wrap up with entertainment news, Jeopardy ratings have seen a rise in viewership after Alex Trebek's death. Of course, the legendary host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek, died earlier this month at the age of 80 due to advanced stage pancreatic cancer. Of course, he had come out on his show to let his audience know about his fight with pancreatic cancer, and he was optimistic at the time, but unfortunately he passed away on November 8th. Now, episodes he taped will air through early January, giving viewers a couple of months to continue to see the host's final on-camera work. In the week of November 9th, viewers took that opportunity, and Jeopardy averaged 10.05 million daily viewers for its weekday episodes, a 24% jump over the show's season average of 8.1 million. Now, that led all of syndicated programming for that week, topping second place show Wheel of Fortune, which normally has 9.18 million viewers, by about 870,000 people. That was the difference. Now, Jeopardy also led the syndicated rankings among households with a 6.0 rating, which edges out the 5.9 Judge Judy. And that's, of course, in the daytime. Now, the last time Jeopardy topped the 10 million viewership mark was back in April, that was when the pandemic hit in earnest and a lot of folks had to stay home due to the national lockdown. The Sony-produced Jeopardy has not yet named a permanent host to take over, although Ken Jennings has, he's been the winningest player in the show's history, and he has been tapped as the interim host. So he will be the first in a series of guest hosts starting on January 11th of next year. Trebek's final shows are set to air on the week of January 4th, preceded by 2 weeks of repeats of some of his best work on the show. So rest in peace to Alex Trebek, and much love and prayers and thoughts to his family. But that does it here for us at the Evening News Rundown, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You'll find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Florida National News. And on YouTube, be sure to also hit the bell icon so you can get all the notifications for all of our shows. And as a quick reminder, if you or someone you know is an entrepreneur, or you are part of a corporation that's looking to expand its advertising footprint, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. In the meantime, guys, thanks as always for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and a happy Thursday, happy Turkey Day, happy Thanksgiving, happy Family Day. However you recognize the day, we hope you guys have a great holiday tomorrow. Take care.